a lot of people here, come to a recognition through a lot of disappointment and disillusionment. Yes, it doesn't have to be that way, but in this, how it plays out for a lot of people in this stage of time and space is that let's say you spent a lot of years trying to get out of what you were not. Yeah. And every time the only conclusion you could come up with is you fucked up, or you didn't do enough, or you should have done more, whatever. Yes. You could never see the possibility that that which you were trying to get out of, you were not in. Yes. It never showed up. In all the nights I was up for 20, like 7 to 10 days in a row, wired out on my gourd. It was always, all the solutions had a bent to them that was part of the problem, literally. And then I finally heard another solution that actually worked, which is, this is not another way of getting back to where you left, but denying or negating the fact that you left it. Yeah. And this is not about convincing what believes that it left it, that it hasn't left it. It is not anything to do with that. You just see that which cannot believe it hasn't left this place that it wants to arrive at is not you. Yeah. This is the whole, how the cookie crumbles, so to speak, if you watch the cookie crumble. Yeah. So your first thing would be, there's a resistance to something, and then you want to try to convince that to not to resist it. In this case, you just see it's not you. Yeah. And then the resistance to the, let's say, the solution makes sense now, because it's trying to survive as the problem, so to speak. Yeah. So of course it has to resist the solution, because that would be a real big problem to it. So you learn, I did not know how it would work this way, but I found out how it works by watching it. And it was losing interest in the one that believes it has to go back or arrive or transcend, isn't us. Yeah. So there's no point of wasting any time trying to convince it. And I also came to believe that it cannot be convinced. Yeah. Because it's not what you call AI, it's programming. Yeah. And its programming has a limit, and the programming can't go past that limit. Yeah. So when people say it's impossible for me to imagine that I'm not a body, that answer is coming from the body identification. Yeah. So you recognize that conundrum, and then there's a way you never thought because you would think you'd have to transcend or transform that thing to not resist. But no, the message is you're not that which is resisting. Yeah. Which is awesome. So you don't work anymore trying to change something that can't be changed. It just was unbelievable. I had never seen anything like that. I had always seen something that, all right, my faults need to be corrected. Yeah, because they're my faults. So they're part of me. I don't see that anymore. I do not see the faults that you demonstrate are yours. I do not. Yeah. So you recognize the failure of the system, and you stop resuscitating it. Yeah. Or stop giving it blood transfusions. You let the fucking thing die, because it never actually existed. Yeah. Yeah. And it doesn't die. It keeps coughing and going because it has momentum, let's say 80 years of it. And then in 80 years, it's going to collapse, and it'll be like it never happened. Just like when you go to sleep at night. Yeah. For hours, if you're in deep sleep, this whole idea of you as a thing has never fucking happened. It's just completely unimaginable. If the thing was if what we are was imagining something, it would be unimaginable. Yeah. And then our friend that was here last night or yesterday, he said he came out of a deep sleep, and then the coming to of the selfing was slowed down and he could see it. Yeah, it was like instead of being so fast that you're it already, he saw it like start uh, manufacturing itself, and in that slowed up time, he could really see it's not it. It's not you. Yeah. Now, to me, that is sort of like a free sample of seeing the emperor with no clothes. Yes, if you ever heard that statement, the emperor has no clothes. In other words, to me, the that which is robed and has a wardrobe, this identity as this long-lasting, independent, separate thing, uh, is always wearing some outfit, like a sport outfit or a fucking robe outfit. It's always identifying with something. Yeah. And then you see the emperor with no clothes, like this guy last night. But this was another point that happened that changed. So I thought when you saw the emperor with no clothes, you'd have to see him with no clothes or it with no clothes all the time. But it always wears a lot of clothes. So what happens is you get a free sample that the emperor has no clothes, and now you see that statement as a fact when it's wearing a lot of clothes. Yeah. Who would have thunk it was that way? But that's how it panned out. Yeah. I thought you'd have to see it naked and have to keep it naked and don't let it borrow any clothes from your closet and shit like that. No, you have a free sample. You don't even need a free sample because the underlying fact is pulsating anyway. You're not putting something in to beat that existing heart of what we are. It's already beating. We're distracted and we're not hearing it, so to speak. Yeah. So seeing the emperor with no clothes is and it having its effect of being convincing. You see the emperor with no clothes when it appears to have a lot of clothes. Yeah. Yeah. So, and emphasis, you and I are an event of giving everything all the meaning it has. If you have any connection or have heard the Course in Miracles, the second lesson of the Course of Miracles is you and I give everything all the meaning it has. Yeah. Wow. That's a pretty comprehensive statement. It says everything and all in one sentence. So everything and all, there's not much of an escape from that. Yeah. So you and I give everything all the meaning it has. Okay. What happens is the head is giving meaning to things, but where it changes is in the loss of interest in the meaning. It doesn't stop giving meaning to things, but you lose interest in the meaning that it's giving things. Yeah, it's awesome. So when it says you're entering a lifelong depression, you don't even blink because you know you're not entering a lifelong depression. I mean, you've seen, the boy crying wolf 800 times. It's the 801 time isn't going to fool you. Yeah. So you come to certain conclusions that erase the road away from them. Yeah. You come to certain conclusions that when you come there, they erase the idea that there was a road that you were on that took you away from it. A fact is a fact is a fact is a fact, not in the dreaming, but in the reality of what we are. And the great godfather of non-duality, Ramana Maharshi, said, hey, being ourselves reality. What? Yeah. Being ourselves reality, the greatest mystery. Okay, here it comes right now. The greatest mystery. Now, this guy in this world of whatever spirit, this guy knew the greatest, I would say. Yeah. And here he's saying right now, the greatest mystery, wow, is reality, AKA us wanting to attain reality. Wow. So now the reason why we can't see that is we don't think we're reality, first of all. We think we're Paul. Yeah. So Paul, but thinking you're Paul doesn't change the fact of being ourselves reality. Now, people believe it does, and this is the dilemma, because the belief is not coming from Paul, it's coming from being ourselves reality. So that belief can seem to be real, yes? But it also can be seen not to be real. And this is the message of satsang and the message of non-duality. What was appearing to be real stops appearing to be real to you. Yeah. And when it does, that which is real, it tells you that it's always been this way. So any dream you know goobered up and spit out never changed the fact. Yeah, never changed the fact. Yes, wouldn't that be a beautiful state to have available right where you are? Yeah, every time you're there. Just wouldn't you love to have that reliability and something that isn't deterred or changed by other things? It's just is. Yeah. It's not is because that is. And when that ain't, it is, then it loses its isness. It's just isness in and of itself. What an incredible place for the Son of Man to rest its restless head. Yeah. Is in this message. So, loss of interest. I had no idea. Most of my life, I thought it was gaining interest in stuff which would produce the effect, but actually, it's losing interest in in this when it because the effect doesn't need to be produced; it already is. Yeah, and your interest in producing it is a blindness to that fact. Yeah, who would have thunk? But that's what I found out. So my interest in making something that's already so was making it unso, seemingly. Whoops, what am I going to do? I've really stepped in it. So this was a tricky thing because in recovery, they say if you don't know anything about recovery, how they use the word self is like a foreign installment, like something that has misled us, not intentionally, it's just the way it's built. It's a failed system. Yeah. Okay. So in that thing, it says being convinced this idea of self is what has defeated us. We will now look at its common manifestations. And in that, when we see that which has defeated us, without us knowing it, the influence of us saying it was us that defeated us, how limiting that belief was, because if it was us that defeated us, we would have to stop defeating ourselves. Yes. But in this sense, you see that which has defeated you as foreign to you. And then the possibility of being free from it becomes available. Isn't that incredible? Yeah. There's no freedom as it. And if you're identified as it, you're trying to be free as self. The freedom is from the bondage of self. And the bondage of self is just an adherence to a mental process called my thinking. Yes? Yes. And the biggest thought that gets emphasized in my thinking is that I'm the thinker, which is a thought. It's a thought that says it's the thinker of all other thoughts. So now you are crowned in the world of thoughts, the king and queen of all the thoughts. And yet the royalty is captured by the population. Yeah. Now the thoughts seen as yours ruin your day. And you can't understand why because you know they're your thoughts. Why aren't they listening to you when you ask them to call themselves off? Or will you, I need to sleep. I have an important thing to do tomorrow. I can't be up at 2 in the morning, go overing some fucking thing. Yes. But it's very frustrating and just astounding that, because very rarely does anyone get brought to questioning the ownership of the thoughts. They don't. So they're trying to learn how to corral them or direct them like a raging river instead of ruining the town, bring goodness to the town, all this shit. So I'm just going to have good thoughts and stuff like that. But every thought is being used to imply you're the thinker. Yes? Wow. Did you know that? You didn't know that all those insane thoughts that don't seem to have anything to do with anything are being put to use. They're reinforcing the idea you're the thinker. Yeah. 70,000 thoughts a day. We used this, I heard this in Australia. They probably found there's more, in the 90s. And let's say there's 70,000 thoughts a day. And now I was a house painter. Yeah. And usually I was never surprised when I did an inside job. There was usually 4 walls, a ceiling, some windows, door, little baseboard trim. Yes, I was never caught with my pants down. And basically, the person ordered me to paint it off-white. I didn't think 8,000 thoughts about the off-white paint. I just ordered it. Yeah. And basically for me to do my job took maybe 13 thoughts that day, really. Thought about where I'm going to get lunch and what I'm going to get, and then I'd get the lunch and so on and forth. What are the other 69,993 thoughts doing? What are they doing? They don't seem to have any purpose, do they? But they do. They're putting to great use. Yeah. Because you're not the thinker. So to seem like you're the thinker, there's a lot of claiming of a lot of thoughts. Yeah. Because if you had a thought and then at 15 minutes break and then another thought, this adhesion that's constantly being applied would not set. Yeah. You would see the emptiness of this whole idea. But because there's so many fucking thoughts that are being used to reinforce the thinker, you can't think any other way but as the thinker. Yeah. It doesn't matter how many thoughts you change or you add or subtract. 1 or 8,000 are going to imply that you're the thinker. And who the hell's seeing that? Yeah. They're seeing that their thoughts are driving them crazy, but do they see the role that they're playing in it? Yes. And we used to do a simple little thing when I was in the recovery seminars. We would just put 3 important words in life. One is like relationships, money, and health, let's say. And we would say, listen, we're going to change the meaning of health, money, and relationships, and we're not going to change any letter in the word. We're not going to capitalize it or make it small case, nothing. Yeah? All right. Put the word my money, my health, my relationships. Different, eh? You haven't changed relationship at all, or money or health. But when you put my in front of it, doesn't the my change the meaning of what comes after? Yes, there you are. That's the feedback loop we're hearing all day. This is the feedback loop. It's just it's getting spit out and it just gets rotated in. Yeah. Yeah. Good thoughts, thinker. Bad thoughts, thinker. Yeah. Good thoughts, holy thoughts, thinker. Unholy thoughts, thinker. Yeah. It doesn't matter the category of the thought. All of them are used to imply the thinker. Yeah. And this is where the freedom or the relief is at the thinker point. Yeah. So you stop trying to herd the cats. You stop trying to categorize shit. They're not yours, first of all. Yeah. And I don't listen to most of them. Yeah. I haven't remembered a thought in months, tell you the truth. Could you imagine? I didn't, if I go back Monday, which today's what, Wednesday? All right, let's make it yesterday. I'll go back yesterday. What memorable thought did I have? None comes up. Not a thought that was had like 20 minutes ago from the beginning day of when I woke up has been saved or savored or held unto a lofty position. Not one thought. This is going on for years. That's insane, eh? Thousands of thoughts. I can't remember one of them. I cannot. I can't. If I put my hand in the stream of thinking, whatever one I picked up would be just the same as the one I picked up earlier. Yeah. So what's guiding you? If it's not the thoughts, what the hell is guiding you? Feelings? Do you have any, are you literate concerning feelings? A lot of people mistake excitement as anxiety. So they're excited to go to Hawaii, but they think they're super anxious about it. But they're not. They're excited. Yeah. Like in a weird way, I was excited about coming to Chico, which was surprising to me because I'm usually not excited about going anywhere. But for some freaking reason, Chico, where I've never been, sort of, it's excited me. I was looking forward to it. Maybe because it had nothing to do with an airplane. Yeah. Maybe we're going to drive here. Yeah. But I was excited. And these people have this incredible little space that we're in. So that not one thought got me here. Not one thought. Yeah. And all the thoughts that came up in the car, I don't know where. Maybe there's a thought exhaust, but they're all out. Can you imagine if there wasn't a thought exhaust, you'd fucking commit thought suicide. Fucking eating, so many of them feeding you. Yes. So my thought completely different. Yes. So what happened in spirituality and spirituality showed me I was a complete fraud. That was very uncomfortable. I didn't want to be a fraud. Yeah. What happened when I didn't want to be a fraud? I felt like one all the time. Yeah. So spiritualities gave me the same information or everything else did. It demanded more action. I'd have to fucking give up shit that I didn't think I could ever give up or whatever. Yes. But then this solution came in. And when that thing says, I don't want to be a fraud, I see I'm not that, which doesn't want to be a fraud. Yeah. And basically, that's all I'm called on to do. And it's a very occasionally, I don't do it like every second, but very occasionally, I sometimes just see the reaction to something that's is always been seen as Paul. I see it as not Paul. Yeah. And what happens? What it's trying to distribute into the thing it's thinking about or reacting to doesn't get that delivery. The interested attention does not get delivered there. Yeah. And the interested attention just sits around in this moment, which is the presence of itself. Yeah. I'm giving you all the secrets that I run into. Yeah. So I know a lot of people who did a whole lot more than I ever did, and they haven't gotten to that second negation. Yeah. They saw the self that they were seemingly objectified, and they've applied a lot of spirituality on it and a lot of skillful means and a lot of methodology. But that which is now sitting and saying it's the one that's looking and going over the objectified self is just the other side of the coin. And some of them have not seen that. And they're still as fucked up as they ever were. Yeah. Because this is not one, it's two, not two. Yeah. That which you are observing, and then the thing that's claiming it's the observer of it, both of them are not us. That was the key in this where I am. Yeah. When I could see I'm not that which I'm not, and I'm not that which says it's seeing I'm not that. Yeah. Wow. Fantastic. Yeah. Bring on Chico. I'm completely immersed in Chico. Why? Because I'm in Chico. Yeah. So, all right. So for people who haven't been here before, uh, just hear this. Yeah. There's a mechanical movement in the mental processes. Yeah. You want to say it's of the brain, who knows, who cares? But they are mental processes. They're not mind processes, they're mental. And the mental process has a movement that it is going to claim whatever being conscious in this event has brought it into contact with. Yeah. So it's going to claim mechanically. It doesn't do it because it wants to and doesn't do it, or does it when it doesn't want it, just does it. Yeah. It's just a mechanical claiming. So when there's seeing, there's the sense that there's a sense that there must be a seer, a sense. It's not true. Yeah. So seeing, the head, to the head, seeing is the claiming of the seeing implies the seer. And now the seer is the most important aspect of the seeing. And then it becomes the seer and the seen, and very little attention to the seeing. So right behind, right in front of us, we're missing the whole thing, because the left end of the table and the right end of the table are being emphasized. The seer and the seen, and the meal of the seeing is being underappreciated. Yep. Hearing, same. Hearing and heard, but this emphasis is on the hearer and the heard. Forget about the hearing. Yeah. Feeler, feeling, felt. Yeah. The feeling gets claimed. Then there's the feeler. And this idea of the feeler is what gives name and form to the description or the meaning to the felt. Yes? Yes. The meaning that you're going to give to everything is going to go through that hole of self-centeredness. Yes? That hole of the feeler. And the feeler is going to give meaning to the feeling. Yeah. And you are not literate concerning feelings. And it can tell you a feeling of joy is the beginning of a lifelong depression. Yeah. Who knows? You don't know any better, really. You've been relying on this thing that's talking to you for your whole life. Yeah. And then in a pinch, what you're going to rely on is that also. So the seer, hearer, feeler, taster, toucher, the doer, all this stuff that's going on is extracted from the verb of doing, seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching. Yes? The seer, hearer, feeler, taster, toucher, doer is extracted by the claiming of the verb. Yeah? And then not only do we get a noun, which wouldn't be bad in a way if it was verb noun, but this crazy noun is presupposed to be before the verb. And now you have an incredible, insane effect, which is you get guilty and shameful and proud about what happened because you believe you did it. So now the noun that came after is before everything. And literally, you live as if you have a lot of to do with a lot of shit you have nothing to do with. And that meaning is pictured as a body. Yes. When you are remembered, how are you remembered? You're remembered as a body. When you're worrying about yourself as a future, you're not worrying about yourself as a spirit, are you? You're worrying about yourself as a body, that can get a kidney fucking stone or whatever. Yeah. Yes. 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 So the head, no matter if you're just walking by its door, it's always fucking open and blasting its fucking trance-like music. Yeah. As long as you're walking by at the door, you're pictured as a body. Yeah. Even the word spiritual path. What the hell is on a path? Have you ever seen a spirit on a path? I've seen a lot of bodies on a path. We rode on a bike path today. I didn't see one fucking spirit go flying by. I saw a lot of things go flying by. Yeah. What's the difference between a bike path and a spiritual path? They both are inhabited by things. Yeah. So now a thing wants to become more like a spirit, but never losing its thingness. How is that going to work? It happened with me. I remember I was younger and I lived in this little town called Mill Valley, and there was a beautiful Buddhist uh, like magazine called Tricycle. And very nice pictures, very nice stories. And they'd have some articles by teachers and stuff. And I would go by, they was right at when you check out cashier. And I could go pick it up there or even get a subscription. So I was reading it one time and there was an opinion piece, like an op-ed by a famous Western meditation teacher. I didn't know who they were, but they stated they were like a famous, and he was talking about this phenomena that was happening with all his older students. They were all getting in touch with him and said, nothing's fucking happened. Now, I heard it, not as the hearer. There was a hearing of that, and I immediately reached up and pulled the emergency brake on the spiritual bus because these people had been practicing for 20, 25 years and they were informing me nothing happened. So why the fuck would I do it? So I got off, never bought another tricycle, got off that bus, and there you go. Yeah. I mean, you can be anything. You can try to become anything you want, but you can't try to become what you already are. You just can't. It doesn't work. Yeah. Yeah. It just doesn't. Doesn't matter if you think you look like you're getting closer, or you feel like you're getting closer, or you're you're vibrating on such a beautiful spiritual pitch. You're not even a body. But these same people call me and they tell me they've disappeared, and they're telling me that as an appearance. I mean, what the fuck? I'm going out. If you disappeared, I wouldn't have heard from you. I disappeared for 3 weeks. All right. How about I've never appeared for 80 years? How's that? But I'm going to constantly keep appearing. Yes, because I've never appeared. All right. Well, I'm a little fucking crazy tonight. I'm mm, yeah. All right. Any questions? I think we have one. And John Luna
Hey,
comes.
how you doing, Paul?
Good, John. Are
Good.
you in the Bronx?
No, I'm in Long Island.
Oh, Long Island. Go
Yeah,
Yankees.
yeah, yeah. Yep.
Go
Uh,
Yankees.
yeah, Yankees, Mets. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
But always good to hear you talk. But I w- I like to bring up things that that feel like they don't. I could say, yeah, that sounds good, but it doesn't feel true in me. So I want to maybe have you point it out in a way that maybe it will feel true to me. But so when you said my health, my finances, my I forget what the third one was, but
My
you know,
relation.
yeah. And the thing is though, if it's if it's my pain, my physical pain, if it's my illness, or if I have an illness, or if I have a sickness, or if I have an injury, nobody who else is it other than mine. And so I feel like the body thing. I feel like the body thing has been hard for me because it's really what brings me. It's really how that separate self and that believing in the whole nonsense. It just flips back around. The cart goes before the horse again, because I'll ultimately end up wanting that feeling of rejecting the feeling or what's happening in the moment makes me want to change it. And I know that's not me either, but there's a forgetting there. There's a overcoming. The emotion becomes stronger than the presence, and I forget, and I take myself to be that which is resisting or whatever, what have you. But it's just hard for me to understand. So how is it? In a sense, yeah, I understand there's a collective pain, there's empathy, there's this and that, but how is it not my pain?
Because there's no you, bro.
But but only
Pain,
there's right.
yes. And if you've ever seen pain, the
Hmm.
more if the more that the pain is yours, there's more suffering concerning the pain, yes?
Yes.
So yeah, there you go.
Okay. It just gets tough sometimes because
Yes, it gets tough sometimes. I mean, obviously,
yeah.
this is because most of the time the, the head has already claimed to be the hero of this message. And of course, it, this happened to me so many times, but this one time in Dublin, a guy came in and he was saying, you know, Paul, I hear you speak that uh, you're not a body and it sounds so easy, but to me it seems impossible. And I said, yes, because at this moment you're looking at it from the body. Yeah.
Right, right,
From
right,
the body's point of view, it's impossible not to be a body. Yes.
right.
And the same way when you're speaking, there's the idea of being John. And to it sounds weird, but John, this idea of John values pain just because of what it verifies. Yes.
I can see that. I can definitely see that. It does make
This is
sense.
sort of like the clincher. You can be in an exalted state and then your knee hurts and it just, there you go.
I had this while too. It might have even been the last time sat in on one of these meetings. Was I had this realization that every problem that came up in my life was a way for the false sense of self to continue its life, or its seeming life. Like I could see that everything was coming up as a dilemma to keep the ultimate dilemma in place.
Of course. It's like Dracula hunting for vampires.
Right. And it would be never ending. But for some reason, I can have real, there could be really clear moments. You know that I've talked to you before. I mean, there could be lasting clarity, but it will not last. And that's the problem. And I'm okay now with thinking, okay, I
Oh,
just may
it
have
is,
to go ahead.
it's not the problem. It's not the problem it doesn't last. It's your
Okay.
it's the resistance that you're holding on to it. That it should last. Yes. This is the
Mm.
dream of most spiritual seekers is they've had a peak experience, but they want it to stabilize. They want to
Well,
walk around in that experience all the time. And that wanting is probably the biggest problem of that ever possibly happening.
Well, it's just like there's the clarity of when you're seeing the self thing at work, when you're seeing the second question or the second thought, and it's just like you're like whatever we are is like Teflon. It just doesn't. It's like an arrow with no. It doesn't even pierce you, but and that's not. I'm not going to even say it's incredibly peaceful and relieving, but I wouldn't say it. I'm not comparing it to some sort of supernatural or overwhelming, like ecstatic experience. It feels very normal in it when that's present. But I feel as though it flips again, and I'm
You don't want that to happen.
well, no, I mean, yeah, I mean,
Who is it that doesn't want it to happen?
it's another thought.
Who is it that doesn't want it to happen?
The thought of me is John. You know,
Yes. So the way it's happening is by looking at something that it doesn't want to be happen. Yeah. So it's claimed it doesn't want to be, it doesn't want it to be happening, and it claims it to be the you that thinks that. Yes. You
right?
see it?
Yeah,
Yes.
no, I do see it. I do see it. It's clever, but it's not. You
The
know, after.
thing is, brother, sometimes we want to have the surface be placid and serene.
Hmm.
It's the depth that's always placid and serene.
Right, right.
Yeah. So allow the depth to have an influence on the surface. Don't picture the surface as that it has to be like the depth all the time. It's the surface.
Yeah, I hear you, and I want to say that honestly, there is a depth that when pretty some intense stuff happens, that depth will somehow or another assert itself, and it won't feel the desperation that I would have maybe felt before. Like if a relationship's not working out, it's
Yeah.
not that I don't have the strong feelings. It's just that there isn't that this like severity and ultimate seriousness to it. But I just I feel like when things get intense in my life, I've noticed reactivity, and I'm like, man, maybe I just got away from satsang too long. But it's not as um, active in a
Well, it's
sense. I
not
know,
as strong as it used to be. Great. But to see the reactivity, that which is reacting isn't you. Yeah.
right?
And
Tell that
and
to the person I'm
that
reacting to,
sometimes
though.
so engaged in the surface,
Right.
and we're demanding it to be like the depth. If you're in the depth, you don't really care as much of what's happening on the surface. This is the traveling lighter. The traveling lighter isn't because everything gets great. The traveling lighter is you lose interest in the importance that the surface used to play. Like, I have to have all these things in place for me to be okay. No, you don't. Yeah. And
Yeah.
the surface life is just a mere event in time where the depth is where you are. Yeah. I
Right.
think that's a soothing balm, BALM, that applies itself when you're taking the surface too seriously. Yes.
Yeah. I agree. And I appreciate what you're saying. And it was just the two other questions, and then I'll let
Oh, two of them. All
too,
right.
too short. We're not going to too long. Um, but one is my work. I work as a therapist, so it's very psychology oriented. I do bring in, I feel like a transcendent aspect into it, but it's made, it's sort of, it sort of reinforces a lot of the story and the mind stuff because that's,
It reinforces, you don't.
yeah. Okay.
The system and the application of medicine or skillful means or BALM bombs in the surface world, yeah,
Hmm.
that goes on. Yeah. That's the seed assignment you're in. Yes. But
Right.
your seed assignment, there's no you in it. Yeah. Yes. So do a good job with therapy with the people. Try to do your job, so to speak, and clean yourself off, I would say, especially during the day. Yeah, because things happen when you're working
You mean
with
like energetically, just cleanse, like cleanse?
a lot of things can happen.
Yeah,
The head is contagious in a way.
it is.
So
It is contagious. Yeah, yeah,
take care of yourself and you know, yeah.
And the last thing is, real quick, is I don't need other people. I mean, I need other people. Like satsang is a meeting with other people, and it's so helpful. But it's not like I need everybody in my life to be onto this message. And but I think when people are, even when they've had just enough free samples, it's hard to kind of um, operate from the same place in life. Like you have a different. There's something else that's open, and I found it really hard and almost to the point of being impossible. It could be also just personality, but being with someone that doesn't get this, and to the point where I almost had to change the way I spoke in the beginning of the relationship. It seemed too impersonal, or it seemed, there was. It's like it was like really almost having to recreate like this first, really, really invest back into this identity. And I think over time, I just noticed it made me slowly like more forgetful and more forgetful, more forgetful. And one thing I'll say is that not enough to feel like I can't go on with my life, but I just wonder, you know, I don't know. Is that a lie the separate self is telling me? I don't know.
Well, if you have requirements and they, spoken or unspoken, and they're not being met, and they're not being met for a while, maybe you need to do something. But that's not everyone's requirement.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because yeah,
I mean,
I
I
could
think it's just, when you
go
deeply,
into it, but I don't.
yeah, no, I know. I just don't.
I have love of another, and she probably sees me as an alien, and I see her as an Italian.
Yeah. I, I think, I think you can. And I just think in this case,
So,
it
but
creates,
it doesn't, yeah, that thing about I need to be, I don't know if it would be that great if you were with a like-minded person.
well, the only thing is I'm not that, the firm establishment of it. Like when you say that term firm, and I know I forget the other word, when you say firm and something in your knowing, I feel like not being, I'm not to where you achieved. There's a feeling, at least a seemingly oscillating, and so it does help me. I do feel the difference of being hearing and listening to people like you and other people who are
Well,
interested in it.
yeah, then get that. Isn't it clear? Isn't it great to know what you need at a given time or space? That's fantastic. And especially if you know where to find it. Fantastic. I mean, that's advanced livings to me. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know how many people go to the wrong solution? Quite a lot.
yeah,
So, yeah, I mean, something is getting clearer and is bringing you to where you need to be. Hallelujah. Yeah, bro.
yeah.
Just and the ride's not over. Remember, yes,
No, I don't. I don't. It's never.
ride's not over, and yeah, more will be revealed for sure.
Okay. All
And
right.
I've seen
Well,
a lot.
what's
If
up?
you don't mind, when I met you, John, I feel you're a very serious person at times, and
Hmm.
sometimes seriousness isn't helpful in a way. It becomes and so you gotta loosen up or laugh a little bit, and then
Well,
yeah,
if you think I'm serious, then you need to meet my girlfriend.
yeah. Oh, there you go. So uh
Yeah.
this is we all have our seat assignments, yeah.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I just go along with the script. I read it once, I don't study it, and I just follow the directors. And I sometimes feel like I know how the director sees the next scene, so I just go with that. Yes. And
Yeah.
if I need to be pulled up and reprimanded, I am. And if I'm not, it just galvanizes that faith. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Something will do the course
I
correcting.
care a lot about you, Luna, and especially because you're a homeboy. Yes,
Yeah,
I know what it's like to be in the Bronx and Long Island.
I appreciate it, Paul. Thank you, man, for your time.
At a supreme level of being fucked up already. So
Yeah, exactly. It's a good, quite
be
many
gentle
years.
with yourself in a way. Yes.
What's
Yeah.
that?
Be gentle with yourself.
Yeah, that's
This
right.
isn't about you don't earn things. This isn't a meritocracy. This is a recognition. See, I swear to God, the mental atmosphere I lived in, there was not a speck of acceptance in it. Not a
Nothing.
speck. And then something happened when I saw I wasn't the body or whatever. And then I started breathing in something, and it took me a while to even name it. And it was acceptance. There was an acceptance that was surrounding me, not a fucking demanding and a critiquing and moving. Yes, it was like,
Mhm.
it's like, here's a story. I love this one. There's a guy uh, whose job is to deliver this giant basket of stuff to Bombay. Yes. And he lives outside of Bombay. And basically, he knows he's going to be uncomfortable until he gets to Bombay and can take this big basket off his head. Yeah. So, and it's a 40-something minute walk. And so one day, a guy has seen him do this many times and sees him in his little village. And he says to the guy, there's a train that stops here that will take you to Bombay. Yeah. Pretty good news because this guy now could he may not have to wait to get to Bombay to feel some relief. He may have some relief, getting on the train. So the guy who gave the message thinks, "Oh, I've done enough." And then he's walking by the train and he sees the guy in it and he's excited that he listened to him, but he has the bag on his head still, the basket on his head. Yeah, so the guy has to go into the train and says the train is going to take both of you there. Yeah, it's going to take the basket and you there. You can put the basket down. Yeah. So this is sort of like the message. There's a sharing of a message, and then there's maybe you have to see who got back on the train with the basket on their head. Yeah. And to get to the point where relief will truly be relief. Yeah. Yeah. There won't be any permission that seems to be withheld that you have to jump to a certain level to get. There'll be a giving of permission to be fucking okay. Yeah. As all of what you're not, seeing it as from what you are. Yes. Acceptance is the first thing that meets the negation of what you're not. It does. Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. All that stuff that you've been held prisoner for, you've been on a probation, you're never going to get off. That all the things that the head has you extorting you, and you get relieved of all that. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I wish for people as a person. I like to see them. To me, the highest goal here as a person is to travel lighter, literally. You're going to travel and things are going to move you. Yeah. And every time you want to dive to the depth, the surface is going to call you back and pull you back. But you have to realize the surface and the depth are of the same quality. Yes. There's a sameness in it all. Yeah. So, and I feel whatever's going on in the surface does not disqualify the depth at all. I just don't, I don't believe it. So here I am. Yeah. In Chico. So John Luna, yes, come back, and you're a lifetime member of Zen Bitch Slap, and there you go. Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you again, Paul. Appreciate it.
Welcome, bro. You're welcome. I understand you're the head. I do somewhat. And the answer isn't going to be eaten by the head or got grokked by the head. That's the message, really. There'll be a stepping out of it, and then a seeing of it. Yeah. And that seeing of it isn't going to wait around and try to make it see. There's just a seeing of what cannot see. Yeah. That's always going to stumble or put its foot in its mouth or say the wrong thing at the wrong time or whatever, these things. And yeah, it's like recognizing a Toyota as a Toyota, not demanding it become a Rolls Royce. Yes. So, yeah, I feel that this action figure can reach some great heights, and those heights are gratitude, honor, and awe, AWE. Yeah. And deep appreciation for things. Yeah. That's basically the highest note it can hit, I feel. Yeah. Yeah. You can't use it to get out of a thing because you're not in a thing. Yeah. So yeah, thank you. Thank everyone who shows up and everyone who's donated to me. I I used to be able to do it personally, say thank you, but I don't know when people give me money now. And so I just try to blanket appreciation for all that. Because what was this house painter going to do? I had no idea. And I didn't really think about it. Yeah. But I was at a point of house painting that I could only paint like 4 feet or below. So I had to like paint baseboards, become a specialist because my legs were giving out. And then life just took care of me like it always has. Yeah, did. And so I remember when we gave birth to this idea of Zen Bitch Slap, and the people that were there was only 3 people, and they were telling me, well, we should have subscriptions and shit like that. And I said, no, I'm going to I have faith in the message and see what happens. Yeah. And I've been taken care of in just so many ways. And as this action figure, and there's such a gratitude. Um, yeah, and you're all part of it. Yeah, so I'm very grateful to have to sit with us, each other and us. And I'm really sometimes though, you're thinking something has to be so big, you miss out in the little, The traveling lighter in and of itself is an incredible event. Yeah. Where you're not taking so much shit so seriously. It's just mind-boggling. What a difference. I mean, if you could bottle it up and have someone drink it all at once, they'd be really fucking paying a lot of money for that bottle. But here it's just like dog shit awareness. But the traveling lighter isn't noted, you know what I mean? There's not someone watching if you're traveling lighter or not. That's part of the traveling lighter. I have to be traveling more lighter. All right, man. Anyone else here? We have Pranesh McLean.
Hi, Paul. Lovely to chat to you. I've done 15 years. I was just a normal bloke. I met my wife here in Australia. I suddenly became this person who felt lesser than, did the whole spiritual path all around India, Arunachala, Ramana's ashram. And when I read your book and watched your movie, Traveling Lighter, I probably would have lived another 10 lifetimes to even come close to that realization. So thank you for that. I met Gangamira 4 years ago, and she told me, just stop listening to the mind. And I just didn't get it. It didn't sink in. I had to listen to the recording again after listening to your good self before I've done all this work on myself. I think I had wounding here from my father issues, and then I had armor on top of that. I would never recommend psychedelics to anyone, but I did that, and the armor got cracked, And then I think you came along at a place and time where the message got in. And now I'm kind of using life. The gentleman previously nailed it, I thought, with me, because now I'm using life almost like a question: who am I? Where I just stay with life, and life presents obstacles or realizations, and I just stay present through, you know, what you were saying, not necessarily getting caught up in it, but it presents itself anyway. Naturally, life is going. For instance, I put my big foot in it the other day. We go to a satsang, see a swami, and I said to my wife, I'm happy to go along and sing and play the guitar, but I don't want to prostrate anymore, because it's implying there is a separateness. There's a whole, he's on a high chair, and there's, as you mentioned, the first row, they're more aware, and I'm in the band, I'm back a bit. So, oh my God, World War III kicked off, because then I'm stepping on somebody else's beliefs. So I need to sit back and just keep my mouth shut, I think. And am I enlightened? No. Am I more awake? Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Great,
So,
man. Well, I'm happy
yeah.
to see you, Pradesh.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How do you donate? Just on the page, you go to the donations bit?
I haven't donated, so I don't know, but I have
It
to
is,
tell them I
it
haven't
is
donated.
on the donations page, and there's several different, yeah. But
Thank you.
didn't you say you prefer Cash App, Paul? I mean, if you're going to ask, as opposed to PayPal, because PayPal takes,
I don't like PayPal.
right.
I like Venmo and Cash App. Yeah. Whatever's
Okay.
easy for you. And if, yeah, it's always
Oh,
appreciated. But
thank you. I just want to, I'm loving listening to you. I'm getting a lot. You don't have to address any of my particular issues, but yeah, I just wanted to show appreciation.
oh, great. Thank you, man. Well, you did by talking and sharing. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Take care.
Yes. Yeah. Anyone else? Yes, we had it a say in another similar to that, Pranesh, in one way. A lot of people in AA get in this situation where they don't want to say they're an alcoholic anymore. Yeah.
I think
And
you've nailed it, because I use a lot of life, even guitar playing, as distraction. So I think, although I'm not an alcoholic, I have been known to binge drink, and I think it's trying to escape my mind. So I think you've nailed it there. Yeah. Maybe I'm in the wrong group.
So, but one of the things that happens is people don't want to state that they're an alcoholic because they think it's fortifying, reinforcing, you know, the
Yeah.
identity.
Yeah.
Now I
Yeah.
don't. And so people come up with interesting ways. So now a way I pass on to people is I'm a grateful member of recovery. So you're not
Yes.
saying you're anything and everything. To me, I don't, you know, to some people, those particulars really stick. Luckily, I don't see it. So I just say I'm an alcoholic because I'm not really. But I do understand. So there's ways around things. So
Yes. You've
yeah.
nailed it. Yeah, you've nailed it.
You can also go in and be in a wheelchair and then they won't expect you to pranam.
Ah, nice. Well, I'm 62 now, so I've got a dodgy ankle. So
There
yeah.
you go. There you go. Just you'll be in the disabled section. It's okay. I found a lot of benefit in there. I have.
That's gold. Yeah.
All
Thank
right.
you. Thank you.
Anyone else, or we'll start saying goodbye. All right. We have William Stamps. He's been with us since the beginning of Zoom. Thank you, William. And yes. And Joe S., thank you, my friend. Yes. Eric and Vista, always a pleasure to see Eric. Maro, you're still around. Everything's good or bad. It doesn't matter. That's good. We got Craig May. He's pondering, where did I put the key to the closet? I don't know. It's right in front of you, Craig. Donna, nice to see you, Donna. Mike D. Mike D, I was talking about you a little bit there. The seeing things in slow time is so that you can see it in quick time. Yeah, yeah. Miak. I think she's at the Donardo Hedderman residence. See you, Miak. Say hello to the animals. David Bitterman.
Hey,
There's my man. How are you, Dave?
good, Paul. How are you? Oh, I didn't even know I was on mute.
I'm hanging, yeah. Nice to see you. And we got James and Alan Olson. Yes, there they are. Sandwiched around an iPhone. Ernie. I don't think I've met Ernie. I remember that name, Ernie, I think.
Thank you. Thanks. It's good to be back. I was like 3 weeks ago I joined, and I think you guys.
Good, Ernie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Nice to hear from you again. Yes. Kerry, you're looking like you're in your house almost. No, not yet.
This is my girlfriend's house. Yeah.
Carol's? Yeah.
Carol. Yes.
We've got Vimal Staples. Nice to see you.
G'day, mate. How's it going?
Good day, mate. I want you to say the word miracle for us.
Miracle.
Miracle. All right. Eric, nice to see you, bro. The day of shoe reckoning may be coming. We'll be back there on Saturday. You better start.
End of the month, I'm planning on coming by.
All right, good, bro. I'll see you soon. Shannon Corkery, how are you? Everett Nelson. Yes, there is a piece inside, bro. Terry Bowling, nice to see Terry. Yeah, we got Susanna W., the friend of the family. From Annette to everyone, thank you, Paul. Yes, Lynn D., John Luna. Let's go to the other page. Let's see. We've got Annette, Stephanie, Mike M.
Paul, I found this incredible gluten-free pasta imported from Italy. I'll send you some pictures of the label.
All right. Yeah, good. Good. Yep. Thank you. Thank you, Mike. Fletch. Phone number. Oh, there's Susanna. She's appearing. Nice to see you, hon. Yes. There's Amelia, I think, over here. It's cool outside in Chico.
But we're gonna go in the hot tub.
Yeah, I think that's it. Hey, thank you so much for it's one of the finest pleasures in living is sharing satsang, I feel. Yeah. It's got such a vibrant yeah, it's awesome. All right, thank you. I'll see everyone. I hope we'll be here tomorrow, 10:30 Pacific time AM for recovery, and we'll be back home Saturday, and we'll have the 1 o'clock Zoom and live also. All right, thank you, man. Thank you, Craig and everybody.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you so much.